Naturally Renee. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today we're going to make a cake that's going to taste like it's from scratch because I don't like spending a lot of time in the kitchen. If you've seen any of my videos, I like everything to be good, but I don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So I don't bake from scratch, but I love baked goods. But I will not bake from scratch. I don't have it in me. Baking is very technical, scientific, and no, I'm not doing all of that. So I'm going to show you how I take a box cake mix and make it taste like it's from scratch. Okay, that's where I specialize in. All right, so today we're going to do a vanilla cake. So I have my vanilla cake mix in my bowl. You're going to, your cake mix is going to call for 3 eggs. Most of them do. But instead of the water, you're going to use milk, and instead of the oil, you're going to use butter. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put everything in. I've got my milk according to it's a cup of milk. It asks for a cup of water. It asks for oil. There's 3/4 cup oil, I think it was. So I'm using butter. Just follow the directions, but replace the oil for butter and the water for milk. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my 3 eggs. Get those in there. I like the brown eggs. These are, I don't know, I think they're creamier in a cake. I really think the brown eggs are creamier. So I use brown eggs in my cakes. And then also, I'll grab a tissue here. Also, what I'm going to do is add a little bit of sea salt. Just that little, think about sea salt with chocolate, because we're going to add chocolate. So we're going to add just a little bit of sea salt to that. Not a lot. And then we're going to add a little vanilla, about a teaspoon of vanilla. Get that vanilla going. Okay. And let's go ahead and mix that up real quick. Yeah, I don't even know if I can say I love cooking. I have to cook for my kids, so I know how. But so I like to get things done pretty quickly. I don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So I've just learned how to do things in a little bit of a different way to help me out. Because you still want to have a baked cake. I won't do it though. I don't know. I think maybe I baked a cake from scratch one time in my whole life. Maybe. And that's maybe. So I don't even know. Okay, we've got that all mixed up. Now we're gonna put chocolate chips in it. And I don't know if you've ever made a cake and put chips in it, or nuts, walnuts, or anything like that in your cake, and it all falls to the bottom. Let me show you how to avoid that. You have to coat the chips or whatever it is you're adding to your cake in flour. So you're going to coat it in some all-purpose flour. First, let me put a little flour in my pan here. I already put a little oil in here. I put some oil in my pan, and now I put some flour. You just kind of move it around a little bit like that, because we want our cake to come right out. We don't want any messing around with our cake. We want that cake to come right out of our pan. So I put a little bit of oil and flour. Okay, so now let's add our chips to the flour. I'm adding a cup of chocolate chips, and we're going to coat it in the flour. This will keep it from sinking, so it'll be throughout the cake instead of just at the bottom of the cake or when you turn it over at the top of the cake. Okay? So let's just coat them real good. And then we're going to, so now it was important to get your mix done first, because you want to fold in your chips. You don't want to just dump them and mix it. You're mixing up all your flour. So you want to just fold in. I'm making sure they're coated real nice. Looks like a snow day here with these chips. So coat them real good. And then place your chips in. Place them in. Don't worry about any extra flour. Just Get them in there, and we're going to fold it in and then get it into our pan. I'm leaving a little flour in here. Just trying to dump all the flour in here. There we go. Okay. So you see how that looks now? Now we're going to just fold the chips in. That's it. That's all we're going to do. We're not mixing it. No mixing. Folding. Fold those chips in. So when we put it in our cake mix, and when we put it in our pan, it's just going to go and be throughout the cake. Okay? Instead of going to the bottom of the cake. So I'm just folding it in real quick, a quick fold, and that's it. That's it. Okay? So let's get our pan and get our cake mix in our pan. So this way, because I used to never know how do you get the cake, how do you get the chips to stop going through the bottom? I would make it and chips would just be at the bottom, and yep, coat them in flour. Coat them in flour. And that was the answer. So I like to give a lot of little tips and tricks I've learned along the way. That's pretty much what I love to do. Even with my decorating or things that you can do on a budget. So I like to look at stuff at Pottery Barn, and I say, okay, well, how can I make that? I'm not going to spend that money, but how can I make that at home and get that same luxe look? So that's what I like to do. I don't like cheapy DIY. I like to do something that's going to look like, it doesn't look DIY at all. That's not the goal for me. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Most of the times it doesn't look DIY. Okay, so our chips see our chips at the top? Let me clean this up a little bit right here. Got some cake mix on there. Okay, let's put this aside. Okay, so now it's ready for the oven. I preheated the oven to 350, which is, again, you're going by the cake mix, whatever it said on the box, and it says 350. So we got it on 350, and I think it's 25 minutes or 30 minutes. I'll check, and we'll be back with that. Okay, so while the cake is in the oven, let's make a chocolate topping for our cake, okay? So we're gonna just make a nice chocolate drizzle. It's gonna be a more than a drizzle, to be honest. So we're gonna use 3/4 cup of sweetened condensed milk and a cup of chocolate chips. So let me warm the condensed milk, the sweetened condensed milk, and then we'll put the chocolate chips in the sweetened condensed milk. Okay, now that I've warmed my sweetened condensed milk, 3/4 cups with a cup of chocolate chips. And we're going to go ahead and stir it in and get that nice and creamy. Okay, I've got that pretty creamy. And we're going to add a little butter, so it's more like a buttercream frosting. Okay, we're going to add like a good heaping tablespoon of butter. Let it get soft, nice softened butter. And we're going to go ahead and mix that in. And it's going to melt a little bit because the chocolate and the milk was warm. So it's just going to melt right in. And we'll just wait for our cake. And get our cake out the oven, let our cake cool, and put our topping on. Okay, our cake is out of the oven. It is cooled pretty much all the way. Maybe just a little bit more, but I'm kind of excited when I get to show you the rest. So we're going to take our chocolate drizzle. If it sat too long, just warm it up because you want it nice and creamy when you go ahead and put it on your cake, okay? So you can just warm it up and just make it smooth again if it got too solid. So let's just start drizzling this on the cake. I'm gonna drizzle and let it kind of go down both sides. Yep. Get it real nice. Whoop. There we go. Plenty of frosting for everybody. Everybody's slice. So I start with this first, get my drizzle going, get it, and then I go back through and get my little creases because I always want to make sure I have enough to go through for everyone, for all the cake to get covered. You're gonna have a nice mountain of frosting in the middle. So when you cut your piece, you can go ahead and get some more. Just go ahead and this right here. Yes. So it's like I said, this is gonna taste like it's from scratch, and it's just totally not from scratch. And it's very quick and easy, like most of my meals. Quick and easy. I don't like to spend a lot of time in here. Let's just have something good to eat at the end of the day. I'm going to top it with a little bit of powdered sugar. Not too much. Have it in my sifter. Powdered sugar. And now it looks like you have a cake from scratch. Look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? Delicious. So you can always put some fresh strawberries on the side, or something that, if you know, whatever, some walnuts. I love walnuts on my cake. So I'll probably chop some walnuts and put it on my slice. And I will show you how it looks cut. Let me show you how it looks cut. Okay, let's go ahead and cut it and see how the chips fell or didn't fall, and it's kind of float through the cake. That's the main thing I wanted to show you. See how your chips are through your cake? Instead of all in one spot, falling to the bottom, the chips are through the cake. And that's what you want. Instead of floating all the way to the bottom. So your chips are all the way through your cake. Yep. There we go. Gotta have that with some ice cream in a minute, right? All right, well, take a chance on this recipe. It's gonna taste just like it's made from scratch. Add some vanilla ice cream and you're all set. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Please take a minute to like and subscribe. Thank you.